Good morning. And what a beautiful day it is. We ordered just a little bit of shade so no one would get too hot. What a beautiful morning to begin a new chapter in the life of this dynamic class of 2015. As we open these commencement exercises, I would ask that everyone please stand for the invocation led by the Reverend Dr. Natalie McLean, the college chaplain. Please remain standing for the posting of the colors by the Girl Scout Troop 1726 from St. Matthew's United Methodist Church. And remain standing for the Negro National Anthem, which will be led by the Bennett College Choir.
Let us bow together in prayer. Dear God, your presence and your goodness amaze us. Thank you for this glorious day to celebrate your faithfulness among your children. And communities gathered here today to witness your magnificent grace. God, we glorify you for these graduates of Bennett College, ones who you've allowed us to know and to nurture, bringing out the rich treasures you have placed within each of them. Please be with us during this ceremony and show forth your continued favor. We magnify your name today, Lord, and we thank you for being God. This is our prayer of confidence in Jesus. Amen.
Color guard, advance. Color guard, post your colors. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Color guard, dismissed.
You may be seated. Please join me in appreciating the wonderful music provided by our Bennett College Choir under the direction of Ms. Valerie Johnson and the outstanding accompaniment on piano by Ms. Rochelle Joyner and on organ by Mr. Fred Mason. Now, the scheduled music is the best to be heard during this important day, and therefore, I will remind you at this time to please silence your cell phones and other electronic devices for the duration of this program. We also ask that everyone respect those around you and minimize your conversation and movement. Restrooms are available in the buildings adjacent to this quad. Let us take this moment to recognize some of the dignitaries that have joined us this morning. Please hold your applause until all groups have been introduced. Members of the Bennett College Board of Trustees, would you please stand? This year, we welcome the Bells, who are celebrating their 50th class reunion, the class of 1965. Welcome home. You honor us with your presence this morning. Would you please stand? Oh, you look marvelous. Thank you. You may be seated. Our supported and committed alumni who are not members of the Golden Class, we welcome you home as well. Would you please stand at this time? All alumni other than the Golden Class, thank you so much for being with us this morning. I know we have at least one public official. Would all public officials please stand? Members of the Reverend Clergy, would you please stand? All members of the Reverend Clergy. And from our Bennett family, let me acknowledge our leadership team members, all administrators, faculty, staff, and current students not in the class of 2015. Would you please stand? And most especially, we want to thank and recognize the parents, significant others, brothers, sisters, children, family members, and other supporters of our graduating seniors. Would you please stand? All parents, grandparents, godparents, aunties, uncles, nieces, nephews. Thank you so much for sharing your daughters with us over all these many years. And now it is truly my pleasure to present to some a former member of our faculty for over 40 years, a member of our state legislature for a number of years, and the 100th woman elected to this Congress, the Honorable Alma Adams, who will bring greetings on behalf of the U.S. Congress.
Good morning. Today is graduation day, Bennett Bells, and it marks the start of a new chapter, a new journey, and new beginnings for each of you. President Fuse Hall, Dr. Janetta Cole, to our honoree, Luke Visconti, to the members of the Board of Trustees, distinguished platform guests, to the faculty and staff, to the parents, to the citizens and friends, and most especially to the distinguished and phenomenally awesome graduating class of 2015. I want to bring you very cordial greetings from the 435 members of the U.S. House of Representatives, from our Speaker, John Boehner, the Democrat leader, Nancy Pelosi, Assistant Democrat leader, Jim Clyburn, and the 46 members of the Congressional Black Caucus and our chair, G.K. Butterfield. I bring you greetings as well from our President, Barack Obama. I'm honored to greet you on behalf of the 770,000 constituents of the 12th Congressional District of North Carolina, whom I've had the privilege of representing since November of 2014. It's a pleasure to be with you today, and nothing could be finer than to be in North Carolina at Bennett College on this special day. And so I'm pleased to be back on this campus, this historic institution, where I was privileged to teach and learn for 40 years, with a dedicated faculty, a committed staff, alumni who care, and who've consistently believed in Bennett's possibilities. And even though retired since 2012, education remains a personal legislative priority for me. I am your voice in Washington, in the U.S. Congress, and as a member of the Education and Workforce Committee, the Subcommittee on Higher Education, and as chair of the first bipartisan HBCU Congressional Caucus, you can rest assured that I put the needs of students, faculty, and staff, and all HBCUs, including Bennett College, at the top of my agenda. So today, graduates, the focus is on you and the accomplishments you've attained. But it's appropriate that we pause to acknowledge the struggles and the sacrifices of this college and their founders, because without their vision, today's celebration wouldn't be possible. And so we thank God for that vision, because in spite of obstacles and irrespective of resources, it was that hope and believing that sustained this institution for more than 142 years. That's a century, 4 decades plus 2. This year, the Congress will reauthorize the Higher Education Act, ESEA, and the Voting Rights Act. So we must ensure that no child is left behind, that a 4-year college education is accessible and affordable, and the people's right to be heard is never suppressed. And so I'm proud to embrace Bennett College as one of our nation's finest jewels, a premier world-class institution of higher education. And for all of these years, she's molded and shaped thousands of young women entrusted to her, preparing them intellectually and morally and spiritually to be phenomenal leaders and citizens of tomorrow's world. Our nation thanks you, Bennett College, for the contributions you've made, for your courageous, unwavering commitment, and for your vision for excellence today and beyond. God bless you, graduates. Thank you.
This job affords me an opportunity sometime to have a little fun. But it is my great pleasure, after working with this woman for over 20 years, to say, Congresswoman Alma Adams, would you join me at the podium, please? While some would call you a fresh woman in Congress, you have truly distinguished yourself among your colleagues. And we were proud to see you descend from Air Force One in Charlotte a few weeks ago. But our chests swelled with pride and joy with your latest initiative. In recognition of your historic work, we present to you this day the President's Award, presented to Congressman Alma S. Adams, in recognition of your continued advocacy for education as an equalizer and for your leadership in the formation of the bipartisan Congressional Historically Black Colleges and Universities Caucus in the 114th Congress this Saturday, May 9th, 2015, Rosalind Fuse Hall, President.
Wow, thank you so much.
At this time, we would ask Ms. Deborah Foster, Chair of the Bennett College Board of Trustees, to come and bring greetings on behalf of the board.
To my fellow members of the Board of Trustees, to President Fuse Hall, Interim Provost Linster, and other members of the leadership team, to the deans, the faculty, the staff, and other administrators, to our alumni, particularly those in reunion, and especially the honor class of 1965. To our treasured and loved honorary degree recipient, the 14th president of Bennett College, Dr. Janetta Besh-Cole. To our very special honorary degree recipient, former trustee and today our commencement speaker, Mr. Luke Visconti, to the families, members, and supporters of our honored guests, and to our honored guests, the graduating class of 2015. Good morning and welcome to Bennett College. This morning, we gathered to celebrate the outstanding accomplishments of students who entered this institution to learn and will depart prepared to serve as leaders in psychology, biology, social work, business, just to name a few. For more than 140 years, Bennett College has developed intellectual leaders for our communities, for corporations, and for our world. Graduates, your presence today demonstrates that you have succeeded in meeting the high standards of Bennett College. As a result, you are receiving your degrees. We encourage you to continue to pursue advanced degrees, remembering that your firm foundation was built here at Bennett College. Please know that the Board of Trustees and the Bennett College community are very proud of you. We congratulate you on all that you have achieved, and we remind you that we will continue to expect great things from you in the future. Thank you.
This morning, we celebrate the years of work that students who entered the Bearden Gates 4+ years ago have matured into talented scholars. Here to deliver the student address, please welcome the senior class president, Ms. Mia Coward.
Good morning. Greetings to the Board of Trustees, President Fuse Hall, platform guests, Bennett College alumni, faculty, staff, guests of the college, family, friends, my dear Bennett sisters, and the graduating class of 2015. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the 2015 commencement ceremony. Lila Giffey Akita once said, "Life on earth is a transition. Death is final rest for every man. What legacy do you wish to leave?" In this life, I have learned that there is something special about the transition from a girl to a woman. There's a process that allows her to be molded through her many trials and tribulations on the way to becoming a woman. That same process takes place here at Bennett College. Our oasis is a groundbreaking part of what makes us the women we are today. In August of 2011, we made a decision as girls to attend this academically and culturally enriching institution so that it could mold us to become educated women in our society. When I arrived here at Bennett College, I was very quiet, waiting to find my niche here. I was greeted by numerous women with bright smiles and illuminating glows for Bennett College. One of these women eventually became my big sister, which formed an unconditional friendship and sisterhood that would last a lifetime. She, like many of the women here, were driven and focused on not just helping herself, but all around her. Her kindness taught me that every experience here at Bennett would be a teaching one. Our transition from girls to women began the moment we walked through those Bearden gates. It was in that moment that we realized that our future depended on what we made of ourselves while here at Bennett. The endless registrations, ACES programs, and traditional ceremonies have taught us all how to be strong women in this world. Bennett has taught me to introduce myself in every occasion, to be outspoken and know that I can call attention to a room full of people with the sound of my voice. Bennett has taught me about true friendship, and I have learned to speak for others when they cannot speak for themselves. Here at this institution, I have learned to think more of others than of myself, to be globally informed about the struggles of our world, and to know that as an African American woman, I need twice the confidence and 3 times the poise. I know that if these things have been taught to me, they have been taught to you. This institution has been our transition, our guide for the next level, and it is our purpose to use what she has taught us in everything around us. The question that lies is, what will your legacy be? What will you give back to the community you left in August of 2011? What will be your impact on our world? My graduating sisters, life gives you the opportunity to be great. Make your life purposeful in everything you do and will do. It has been my pleasure, my honor to serve you this academic school year, and I pray many blessings as we progress to the next level of our lives. Congratulations.
Mother's Day is tomorrow, but I'm feeling like a proud mother right now. Thank you, Ms. Coward. Our investment in cultivating the talents of your sisters and you has been time well spent. Congratulations on reaching this milestone, and thank you for those inspiring words. We cannot go any further before we pause and recognize He that is greater than us. And at this time, I'd ask for scripture readings to be read by Ms. Marsha Moyd Williams, class of 2015, the old scripture. She will be followed by Ms. Deanna Armstrong with the new scripture. And I'd ask for the musical selections to follow both Psalms 100 as well as the gospel selection from the choir. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The Old Testament reading is Isaiah chapter 61, verses 1 through 3. The year of the Lord's favor. The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me, because the Lord has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives and release from darkness for the prisoners, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn and provide for those who grieve in Zion, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. They will be called oaks of righteousness, a planting of the Lord for the display of his splendor. Amen.
Good morning. The New Testament reading is Luke chapter 5, verses 1 through 7. One day, as Jesus was standing by the Sea of Galilee, the people were crowding around him and listening to the word of God. He saw at the water's edge 2 boats, left there by fishermen who were washing their nets. He got into one of the boats, the one belonging to Simon, and asked him to put out a little from shore. Then he sat down and taught the people from the boat. When he had finished speaking, he asked Simon, "Launch out into deep water and let down the nets for a catch." Simon answered, "Master, we've worked all night and haven't caught anything, but because you say so, I will let down the nets." When they had done so, they caught such a large number of fish that their nets began to break. So they signaled their partners in the other boat to come and help them. And they came and filled both boats so full that they began to sink. Amen.
Wonderful, and oh, how I love that Bennett College Choir. Give them another round of applause. Beautiful ladies, beautiful. At this time, I'm going to invite Chairwoman Deborah Foster and Dr. Michelle Linster, Interim Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, to join me at the podium. Now I would ask Dr. Janetta Betch-Cole, former president of Bennett College, former president of Spelman College, and her escort, Professor Steve Willis, Associate Professor of Theater, to please come forward. Madam President, Bennett College will always treasure the enormous contribution you made during your tenure as president from 2002 to 2007. You've shared your talent with the Academy for over 40 years. And we echo a nation of scholars in thanking you for your enlightenment. Dr. Janetta Betch-Cole, by the virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, for your life, for your exemplary service, and for your many achievements, I do hereby confer upon you the Doctor of Humane Letters, with all the honors, rights, and privileges thereto appertaining. Please hood our loyal sister.
Sister President Rosalind Fuse Hall, Chair of the Board, Sister Chair Debbie Foster, distinguished members of the Board of Trustees, I want to assure you my words will be few, but let me tell you where they will come from. They will come not from the top, not from the middle, but from the bottom of my heart. And most will be in the form of greetings, of respect, admiration, and love. I do reach out to my colleagues of the faculty. It is you who have been in this unusually powerful relationship of teaching and learning with your students. Of course, without the staff, this small but mighty college for women would not do what it does. Of course, I reach out to our Bennett Bells. It is you who, with your unwavering love of your school, your alma mater, bring forward all that you can give. Your time, the talents that Bennett helped you to develop, and we want to thank you for your treasure. To the families of my class, I am now, see this? I am now a member of the class of 2015. So I want to say to the families, thank you for believing in these young women when at times they weren't sure they believed in themselves. To all of the friends of this college for women, thank you for your support. It is impossible for this college to move forward as it is doing without you. And surely all of you, dear friends, will understand how unusually special this is for me to be here with the man that I fell in love with on this campus. For us to come back, for James David Staton Jr. to come back here with me today, I cannot tell you how special that is. And finally, what words can I say to my classmates? You know, it's one thing to have served as the 14th president of Bennett College, but I want you to know how special it is to receive this honorary degree and to become a member of your class. My words for you are words I have said repeatedly. But you know what? When words make sense, when words speak the truth, they can be repeated because repetition is good for the mind and the soul. And so my words are those of the first and incomparable woman president, Willoughby Player. Willoughby Player. And how the class of 1965 could repeat these words better than I. Willoughby Player said her mama told her, Willa, we expect nothing of you that is ordinary. Nothing. And I want each of you to realize how special it is that on your graduation day, you have two models who have lived their lives never expressing ordinariness. Sister Professor, Honorable Sister Alma Adams. That's an extraordinary life. And shortly, joining me in becoming a member of your class is my brother, Luke Visconti. If ever his work in founding and moving forward the most consistently screaming voice for diversity and inclusion, DiversityInc. If ever it was needed, from Ferguson to Baltimore, all over our world, where the divisiveness reigns based on race and gender and sexual orientation, religion, age, nationality, abilities, and disabilities. Luke Visconti has not lived an ordinary life. So, classmates, final words. They are the words of Zora Neale Hurston, that edgy woman of the Harlem Renaissance, who said, "My mama told me, jump for the sun." Doesn't matter, you can't see it. Jump for the sun. She said, if you don't get there, at least you'll get off the ground. I love you, classmates.
What a treat. Thank you, thank you. At this time, I'd ask Mr. Luke Visconti, President of DiversityInc. and the former member of the Bennett College Board of Trustees, and his escort, Professor Tammy McNeil Rankin, Assistant Professor, Business, Economics, and Entrepreneurship, to please come forward. Mr. Visconti, you've endeared yourself to Bennett Bells nationwide with your passion for and allegiance to diversity and equity. In boardrooms and C-suites throughout the world, it is your voice, the white guy's voice, that awakens social consciousness. Mr. Luke Visconti, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees for your life, your example, and your many accomplishments, I do hereby confer upon you the Doctor of Humane Letters degree with all the honors, privileges, rights thereto appertaining. Please hood Mr. Visconti. Now it is my great pleasure and honor to welcome our speaker for these distinguished exercises. His many achievements and extraordinary career are detailed in your program, and I will not repeat them here. But as you will surely learn, he is committed to fostering and promoting the value of diverse thoughts in boardrooms and corporate offices across this country and around the world. More importantly, since Dr. Cole introduced our speaker to Bennett, he has been a staunch supporter with his time, his treasure, and indeed his talents. Members of the class of 2015, I implore you to lean in and see and hear from someone who saw a need and addressed it. It is my personal privilege and great honor to present to you Dr. Luke Visconti.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Congratulations, graduates, parents, special guests, and relatives. And thank you and job well done to President Fuse Hall, faculty, and the staff of Bennett College. I was a trustee of Bennett College for 10 years because Dr. Cole recruited me, and had I known she was going to speak before thankfully they kept it a secret from me, I wouldn't have slept for a month instead of just last night. I left the board because there are term limits, but my chief operating officer, Carolyn Johnson, who's seated right there, has taken my seat and will bring us all forward. My wife is also here, Nancy, and one of my other coworkers, Shane Nelson, my Vice President of Consulting. I've been with Nancy for 30 years, and Carolyn and Shane for more than 10 each, and this college for more than 10 years. This is a huge honor. It's very humbling, and I'm frankly astonished to be here. Before I get into my talk, I want to just tell you that I had a stroke almost 12 months ago exactly to this day. I woke up in the middle of the night and I had trouble walking, so I woke up my wife and I said, we need to go to the hospital, something has gone wrong. So I want to relate to you the mistake I made so that you don't make the same mistake. I went to the local community hospital, the one closest to my house, which has a very lofty name, but it's just a community hospital, where I was mistreated. They did not know I was having a stroke. They did not see what was going on. They didn't even take my blood pressure for 40 minutes. The point here is that if I had gotten TPA, which is a drug that breaks up blood clots, I may have avoided all of the paralysis that I've been through and the year of therapy. Now, it's not all negative. I'm here, I'm alive, but you should know, and I'm very grateful. You should all Google, when you get home, Google where your nearest stroke and heart attack center is. If there's a teaching hospital near your house, make sure you know where it is. And if something should go wrong with you or a loved one, do not let the ambulance driver take you where they want to take you. Do not go to the closest hospital. Go to a stroke or trauma center. Go to a teaching hospital where you will be treated better. A lot of these community hospitals do their best, but if you arrive in the middle of the night like I did with a stroke, they're going to kill you. They are. So on to my commencement speech. I've never done a commencement speech before, so I was really thrilled to be invited. Now, I know I was selected for more than just one reason, but I'm sure it didn't hurt that I would speak for free. After attending meetings here for 10 years, I can tell you it's a very high-stress situation to make a speech like this because I don't want to let you down. That's my biggest fear. I know that I stand on ground purchased by emancipated enslaved people shortly after the Civil War because they knew that white people would not educate their children. So they had to take it upon themselves to do it. Now, I had a calmer speech prepared, but then Baltimore happened, so I went back to my keyboard. I like this speech better. You're leaving here, students, graduates. This is a safe place where everyone looks like you, and you're going out into the larger world where many white people of your generation feel they live in a post-racial society. The reality for black people in this country is harsh, but I think there are ways you can find a path to give you the best possible opportunities. So we're going to talk about a path forward. But first, I want to give you a very stark view of our society from the perspective of a white man who has immersed himself in the subject of diversity to make a living. How I got here is due in large part to the friendship of an African-American man I met while I was in the Navy. I have a biology degree. I'm sure some of you are going to earn one today. There you go. But you're much better than I, because in my sophomore year, I realized I hated biology. I just hated it. And I wasn't very good at it. In fact, I got my last 3 credits by promising the chair of the department he'd never see me in the field again. That's no joke. When a friend of a friend got into the flight program, the Navy flight program, I was like, I thought you had to go to the Naval Academy to do that. So when the recruiter called again in my sophomore year, I applied and I got in, and the minute I graduated, I was down in Pensacola flying. I made it through Aviation Officer Candidate School, I made it through flight school, and I went out to the fleet. One of the reasons I joined is that I knew I wanted to run something someday. Back in my day, and I'm a graduate of Rutgers class of 1982, back in my day, most CEOs were veterans of either World War II or Korea, and a lot of them were pilots. And I had researched this, and I said, well, maybe this will help me run something in the future. Well, It turned out to be a critical turning point in my life when I volunteered for recruiting duty, and my boss asked me to be the minority officer recruiter, and I said, okay, I'll take that job. And then I ran into a friend in that office. I didn't know him before I introduced myself, and his name's Tony Cato. He also was a helicopter pilot, an academy grad. And when he asked me, what's your job? And I said, minority officer recruiter. He's African American. He looked at me, he leaned back in his chair, and he shook his head, and he said, I guess you were the best they could do. But then he said, would you like my help? And that was a big moment because he didn't have to help me. It wasn't his job to help me, but he wanted to see me do a good job. So we spent a lot of time together in the car talking, and he would tell me about ways he was discriminated against, and my initial reaction was, oh, come on, Tony, you're being oversensitive. Or, come on, Tony, that couldn't have happened that way more than once. Until finally, one day, well, that was my perspective as a white Christian heterosexual man in this country, that I could deny my friend his own experiences. One day we were in the car together, and we were talking about what we like to do in the car on long drives. Now, this was a long time ago, before cell phones, before CDs, before satellite radio. There was nothing to play with in the car except drive, go figure. But he told me, he said, I have a box of Martin Luther King's speeches on cassette tape in the trunk of my car, and especially if I'm feeling a little down, I pop a tape in. So I looked at him, he was driving, and I wanted to see if he was trying to make a point with me because Tony's a natural-born professor. He wasn't, he was just talking, and to this day he doesn't remember that conversation. He doesn't even remember it. I remember it like I was there yesterday. I remember everything in my mind. I know on the highway where we were driving, I know what car it's just a long time ago, almost 30 years ago, and I remember it like it was yesterday because it dawned on me at that moment, my friend Tony is totally credible. He's an awesome man, a great officer. He's a wonderful husband. He talked about his children in a way that made you want to have children. He was a great aviator, and yet I was denying him his own experiences, and he had this personal relationship with Dr. Martin Luther King. I had none, and I spent most of my free time reading history. So I thought to myself, I am not seeing things clearly. Something's wrong with my perception. And that's what changed my life. So now when I talked to Tony, he said, I started all this, where's my cut? And I said, no cut for you, Tony. So let's get back to modern day and current events, which I think will provide you I hope to provide you some perspectives to navigate life successfully. There has been a trend starting with Ferguson for social media to direct the cycle of news. This has pried open a discussion on race and racism in our society that didn't exist before Ferguson. When I grew up, and until very recently, we all received our news from a white male newsroom. Whether you were reading a newspaper or watching television, it was all white men talking about the news, writing the news, and reporting the news, which gave us a unilateral perspective, one without nuance, and it was racist. There's no other way to put it. Those people doing the news at that time, I don't know that many of them were intentional racists, but the end result was racist, and that's all that mattered. In the case of Fox News, it's still racist today. And crazy. Just absolutely crazy. So today, though, the power of the press is in the hands of the people. It's in your hands, young ladies. And the cell phone video and the social media has changed everything. And guess what? Your generation is already less than 50% white. You are the future of our nation. You are where we're heading. Your generation, you young people. So let's talk about what's been happening recently. In Ferguson, a teenager named Mike Brown was shot 6 times and left in the street uncovered for 4 hours as if he were a dead squirrel or a cat run over in the road. The subsequent protests and riots provoked questions in the mind of white people. How could this happen? What's wrong with those people? I mean, look, I'm white, I could fit in, and I hear this stuff unfiltered. These are very important questions. And over time, an important perspective in this case emerged, and it's based on facts and figures. Missouri's own law enforcement data showed that black people were pulled over far more often than white people as a percentage in the population, but that white people were far more likely to have drugs in their car. Now think about this. They're pulling over more black people on a percentage basis than exists in the population, but it's white people that are more often breaking the law. So why? Why was this doing this? Well, there's a couple of reasons, but the biggest one is it's economics. It was really found that you could milk black people for more fines because they were poorer than the white people in the town. And so what this really was racist economic enslavement. The white people leading that rundown little town of Ferguson needed more money. So they figured that white people could pay their fine and move on, but black people having less money with the cooperation of a corrupt court system could cascade fines, milking far more money out of black people than they could out of white people. Doesn't make sense on the surface, but when you start looking at the money, following the flow of money, it makes all the sense in the world. So it just turns out that black people were more profitable than white people. That's all it was. And what grew out of that was a warped systemic abuse run by a police state dedicated to pillaging its own black citizens. A disgrace. When Mike Brown was shot and the protests began, and it was noted that there was an incredible lack of black people on the Ferguson City Council, on the school board, they just weren't there, despite being the majority of black population. And then the white bigots who emailed me directly said, well, why didn't black people vote? Only 10% of black people voted in Ferguson. Well, let's think about this a little bit. If you have fines outstanding or a bench warrant in your name, are you going to the polling place to pull out your ID? No, you're not going to. So this was systemic, it was enforced, it was racist, it was economic re-enslavement, and that's what it was. Now, I want you to think about this because what they did to the citizens of Ferguson, aside from pillaging their pocketbook, was deny them the right to vote. It's pretty serious stuff in 2015. So I want to relate back, there's a man named Douglas Blackman, who ironically is a white man, who wrote a book called Slavery by Another Name. And he wrote about the economic re-enslavement of black men after the failure of Reconstruction. And what happened back those days, over 100 years ago, was that there were laws enacted, for example, vagrancy. If you're stopped by the police and you have no money, you're a vagrant and you get fined and go to court. Now think about this. You have no money, so you're going to get fined. Now what happens when you get fined? Well, a white man stands up in the courtroom and says, I'll pay his fine and he can come work for me for a year. Now I want you to think about the psychology of this. At least as an enslaved person, you were worth some money to the slave owner. If you're just a contract worker because you paid a fine, you have zero value. And that was Blackman's book started with the story of a black man who was buried in an unmarked grave. A family man, a man with wife and children who was picked up in one of these police runs and worked to death in a mine outside of Birmingham, Alabama, killed. But this was 100 years ago. It's still going on today. Nothing much has changed. But let's get back to you. You're going to leave here and strive to make a living. You go to graduate school, eventually you're going to face the work world. And here's a business perspective. I want to tell you a couple of stories about business and what's going on so that you understand what you're facing. At a conference for women in computing. Now mind you, the CEO of Microsoft is sitting there in an audience full of women at a conference for women in computing, being interviewed by a woman on his board of directors. And this is what he said. He said that women should rely on karma for career direction and they should trust the system. Now, I quickly, and when you hear nonsense like this, what you do is go to your computer and Google Microsoft Executive Board. And what you will find is the statistics. 20% women, 30% women in the workforce, only 20% of Microsoft's senior management are women. So karma didn't work very well for women up to that point, did it? And here's the kicker. The woman interviewing him, it was Maria Clave, who is now she's the president of Harvey Mudd College and a Microsoft board member. She was previously in charge of engineering at Princeton University, and she told this story. When she was hired, she was hired and she was asked, well, how much do you want to make? And she said, you know, I'm not good at those things. You pay me what's fair. And she found out later she was being cheated by $50,000 a year. Now, who cheated her? Another woman. The president of Princeton at the time was a woman. So when you think you can trust, verify. Make sure you check up on it. So I think that another thing that happened in corporate America, which is I think worth thinking about, do you remember when Starbucks CEO came out with that thing where the baristas would write race together on the coffee cups so that they would have a conversation with their customers about race? This was right after Ferguson. So when I heard this, my first thought was, well, how are they discussing race over at Starbucks? So I Googled Starbucks executives and came up with the fact that they were unbelievably, astoundingly white and male. 79% white, 79% white, and 80% male. Now think about this. You're going to have a discussion on race with your customers from baristas who are overwhelmingly not white and male. So you're going to put this burden on this discussion on the shoulders of your minimum wage workers and your customers, where you and your boardroom are not going to have that discussion at all. You're not going to even talk about it. Now, they did this in conjunction with USA Today, so I looked up their executive team. It was 100% white men. So, you know, you look at this and say, where are these folks coming from? Who do they think they are to have this discussion? I find it astounding. But this is what you're facing, young women. This is what you're facing. So let's go on to Baltimore. Most recently, you know, the news has been focused on the murder of Freddie Gray at the hands of the police. Now, Baltimore, I don't know, how are any of you from Baltimore? Okay. I went with my wife. We were in Baltimore I think we went to the aquarium, and I drove through West Baltimore just to get off the interstate, and I got to tell you something. It's depressing. It's as depressing as Camden, New Jersey, or Newark, New Jersey. It's depressing. And if you look at those houses where people live, where human beings live, if you tried to raise horses in those houses, you'd be arrested for cruelty to animals. Now, I want you to think about this. In this country, animals would get preference over the human beings living in West Baltimore. It's just unbelievable. It's something completely out of the minds of white America, and even when it does enter their minds, they blame it on the victims, which is, to me, amazing. But during the news coverage in Baltimore, I heard a quote attributed to Dr. Martin Luther King. I heard it several times. A riot is the language of the unheard. A riot is the language of the unheard. Now, I thought about that, and I said, that is an amazing statement. So I looked up the quote to find the speech. And the speech was titled, "The Other America." It was a theme that he touched on many times, especially in the last years of his life. And this speech in particular was given at Grosse Pointe High School in Michigan. 3 weeks later, he was dead. So this was just before he died. And his thinking on this was just tremendous. The insight was incredible. But it's very depressing to know that that speech was written on given on March 14th, 1968. And it's still true today. We are an America of two Americas, one for white people and the other for black. And Dr. King noted that black people in 1968 were living in a depression, and it still is. And many people today talk about that we're sitting on a powder keg, and we are. But we've been sitting on a powder keg for 300 years in this country. Dr. Benjamin Franklin wrote, and I paraphrase, that you cannot restore a person from enslavement without purposeful remediation. Now let's talk about what happened in Baltimore. The remediation from a city that died, its main way of making a living was shipping and railroads. It died 60 years ago. The investment was placed in the waterfront where the white people live. And it is beautiful. If you go to Baltimore and you go to that harbor, it's beautiful. But not where the black people live, not in West Baltimore. There was no investment put there. We have poor public schools, which result in undereducated people who cannot fulfill their destiny. And that's what we have in Baltimore. It's still a depression. So Dr. King noted, and I want to get back because you're entering, in essence, you're going from a black women's college to still a world economically dominated by white men. Dr. King in his speech noted that he was talked to by a person on the plane who said, "We're getting a little tired of spending all of this time and money on black people and nothing seems to improve." Now this is 1968, mind you. And today, if you listen to Fox News and you talk to white people, they'll say they're frustrated. Well, we've spent all of this money, what went wrong? And the answer, what went wrong, is we have two standards in this country, one for white people and one for black people. The things that go on in the public schools that serve mostly black students would never be tolerated in white schools, never ever be tolerated. The food that is available to black neighborhoods would never be tolerated in white neighborhoods. The medical care that black people receive in black neighborhoods would never be tolerated in white neighborhoods. There would never be tolerated. Last week we had, or 2 weeks ago, we had an event where we had Reverend Jesse Jackson speak, and he noted that if the playing field is level, and the rules are equal, and the referees are fair, minorities do just fine in this country. So when you see that people aren't doing well, it's not the people. It's the rules. It's the referees. That's what's going wrong. And we live under this burden of 300 years of enslavement and oppression. If you look at the thesaurus for black, and Dr. King noted this, you'll find many negative connotations for the word black and many positive ones for the word white. So, thankfully today, I think we're actually changing, and I have optimistic hope. With the rise of social media, a recent poll showed that the split in perception between how white people view the police and black people view the police is actually coming together. It's not black people feeling better, it's white people waking up to reality. And I think that's a very positive thing for our country, and it gives me great hope that you will be able to change the world even further. When Walter Scott was shot in the back and killed by a police officer who then tried to plant his taser next to the body to justify the shooting in South Carolina, he was caught by a barber walking to work who pulled out his cell phone and recorded the entire thing. That wasn't even possible 10 years ago. So you think about this. A friend of mine, an African-American friend of mine, and I were talking, and he said, we were talking about what was happening and how that wasn't the first black guy shot in the back by a cop in South Carolina. I said, yeah, but it was the first cop ever fired for shooting a black guy in the back in South Carolina. And for that reason, I'm very hopeful in the future we'll be making progress. So let's see how else we're making progress, and let's consider the difference between Ferguson and Baltimore. Ladies, what was the difference between Ferguson and Baltimore? Baltimore got resolved fairly quickly, didn't it? What was the difference? 3 black women. 3 black women was the difference. So where the white mayor of Ferguson, the white prosecutor, the white governor blew it again and again and again in Ferguson, within a week, we had movement towards resolution by a black mayor, a black DA, and a black woman attorney general, 3 black women. In Ferguson, the killer went free. Darren Wilson walked off with his fundraising $500,000, and he went free. Not the case in Baltimore. You don't think that Freddie was the first guy to get a rough ride by the police in that town, do you? No way. That was standard operating procedure. You beat the guy up, you throw him in the back of the van, and you run over a pothole between there and the police station to make sure the guy gets beaten up a little bit further, soften him up. Well, guess what? This time it's different. There's not going to be a miscarriage of justice in Baltimore. Those men and women, those police officers are going to face justice, as they should. And it's a warning for every other miscreant in uniform with a badge and a gun that next time it's not going to go well for them. So pay attention to the Constitution of the United States, in particular Amendments 4 through 8, which are our rights as human beings, not given to us by the government, but we are born with them. So let's think about the power of 3 black women. So I'm going to get to the advice right now that I would like to give to you, and I didn't remember a moment of my commencement speaker's advice or talk. In fact, I don't remember much of that day because I know what you're going through right now. It's very emotional. But think about this. Yeah, I understand. I'm one of you. I've got to say, Dr. Fusehall, I've gotten a lot of things. I've got medals and wings and all sorts of stuff. This I'm proud of more than anything I've ever received in my life. In his speech, Dr. King said, "It may be true that the law cannot change the heart, but it can restrain the heartless. It may be true that law can't make a man love me, but it can restrain him from lynching me." And I also think that's pretty important too, as Dr. King said. I recommend you study carefully the failure of Ferguson and the success of Baltimore. Listen to Attorney General Lynch's speech about investigating the Baltimore police. Google it and listen to it. It's phenomenal. You will come away saying, "Wow, why isn't she president?" That's what you will say. You, young ladies, you should insist on enforcement of the law and supervision of the enforcers. Know your facts. They support our side. 2, this one's going to be controversial. Dr. King said, "I submit to you tonight there is no more dangerous development in our nation than the consistent building up of predominantly Negro central cities ringed by white suburbs. This will do nothing but invite social disaster," which it sure has. In your lives, I recommend you avoid social disaster. Do what you can to lift people out of it, but don't let it drag you under. If you could strip away the stress from your family of living in West Baltimore or Camden, New Jersey, or Newark, New Jersey, everyone around you will be better off. You're the ones with the degrees. We're expecting more of you than others. You need to be in a position to take care of yourselves and your families in order to deliver that. Do your research. There are plenty good companies to work for and good white people out there. Some of my best friends are white. And there's some good ones out there. But in the words of our late trustee, Dr. Maya Angelou, when people tell you who they are, believe them. So when the CEO of Microsoft says that you should rely on karma, look what he's done. Look it up. It's right there on the website. And believe him. Women are going to be successful there. Don't be a pioneer. It's 2015. You and your families have worked too hard to get you where you are, to go ahead and start to grind your bones down on the altar of somebody who should have known better, frankly. So don't do that. Find the right place to work. There are some good white people out there. Let me give you one example. The Chief Human Resources Officer of a very large, and I'll tell you who it is. It's Johnson & Johnson. He didn't give me permission to say this, so all of you with the video recorders, please keep it to ourselves. His name's Peter Fasolo, and if you ever saw him, he's a rather buttoned-down, preppy-looking white guy. I mean, he really looks the part. He is the Chief Human Resources Officer of a huge company, and he's a very serious man. He's not a happy-go-lucky guy. So I asked him, but he's passionate about this subject. So I said, "Peter, how did you become so passionate?" And he looked at me, he said, "My father, after he got out of the Marines, started a community center in Bridgeport, Connecticut, which is a poor city." Yes. And so in my house, from my earliest memory, there were Baptist ministers and community organizers, and this was the topic of discussion around my dinner table for my whole childhood. And when my father died, they named a park after him, and I took my children to see the park named for their grandfather and for them to understand why the park was named for him. Now that's a good white man to go work for. He's going to make sure you are treated fairly, and if you are destined to become the next chief executive officer of Johnson & Johnson, you'll have a fair shot at it there. That's not the case across the board, so think about it. Think about it a little bit. There are good people out there. Now, when you leave here and you consider your next destination, look at the executive team, including your graduate schools. Look at the graduate schools and see what they've done. And if they tell you they can't treat black women well, believe them. Don't think it's going to be better because you're there. Believe them. Look at their graduation records. Look at their alumni. Look at them. Look at who's on their board. And if you don't see yourself represented there, move along. You are too valuable to waste your time at a place that doesn't understand how special you are. And remember this, you need to agitate and advocate. Another great quote from that speech from Dr. King is, "Freedom is the bonus you receive for telling the truth." Freedom is the bonus you receive for telling the truth. It's not always going to be easy. It's never going to be popular, but it will set you free. And in the process will set the rest of us free. Finally, please be a Tony Cato to somebody else. Please pass that along. Without Tony Cato, I would not be standing here in front of you. My life wouldn't have been what it is. I wouldn't have had these unbelievable experiences at this college for all these years. It will enrich you as well. I think Tony takes pride that he, flipped the white guy into doing the right thing, and you could do that too. So please be a Tony Cato to somebody. Now, I'm going to wrap this up before the hook comes from the left side of the stage to drag me off. You women, graduates, you women are the dreams realized of generations of people who suffered, sacrificed, and bartered their lives to make all of this possible. You live in a nation that has the extremes of the loftiest goals and ideals for human beings and some of the worst implementation of those ideals. But you have overcome, you, ladies, you have overcome what would have destroyed the average person. You are superior. Your accomplishments speak for themselves. You may not feel that way yourselves, but I can tell you from my observation that you have overcome all of that. You have overcome the weight of what over 300 years of history would do to you. And if you have earned your way financially and academically to be here in this shelter from the storm, and you have earned your degree. So square your shoulders, tilt your chins up, walk proudly. You're the strongest Americans we have to offer in this country, and we're relying on you to deliver our nation from evil. Thank you very much, and congratulations. Thank you, ladies. Thank you very much.
That was brilliant. That was brilliant.
I fluffed it over with my trust hand.
Oh, but you did a rational job. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. What a great word that was. When you speak truth to power, God will show up. When you speak truth to power, God will show up. Thank you so very much, Luke Visconti, Dr. Luke Visconti, bestowed upon him by Bennett College, that doctor title. Oh, he's going to enrich us more and more and more. At this time, we have a very special presentation to make. The students in the Martin Dixon Intergenerational Center represent the youngest members of the Bennett College family. The preschool laboratory is a 5-star rated institution. Each year, they honor our commencement speaker with a gift. The gift being presented today is a token of appreciation from our future. Our presenters are London Ellis, daughter of Eddie and Leslie Ellis, and Jaden Johnson, the son of Stanley and Elon Johnson. Will you please come to the stage? This is from our look at wow.
Oh, look at the world.
Thank you, Howard.
Oh.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, move over. Move up. Step over. There you go. So when you take a step over there, take a step over here, honey, so we can see it. Okay. Can't see the picture. Okay. Oh, okay.
Put in front of the kids.
There you go. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, that's so cool.
Oh, great. That's so awesome. Thank you.
Let's give them another hand. This picture is entitled Touching the World. The art piece was inspired by the work that you do, Luke Visconti, at DiversityInc. Mother Teresa stated, "I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters to create ripples." Thank you, young people of the Martin Dixon Intergenerational Center. Now it is my privilege and my pleasure to recognize the Vice President of our National Alumni Association, Ms. Nichelle Gordon-Scott, who will present the honor class of 1965. These extraordinary women have been Bennett Bells for over 50 years. Ms. Gordon-Scott, every school, college, and university must depend upon its graduates. We welcome your comments at this time.
Good morning. Good morning. To the class of 1965. They are here today to celebrate their life and their legacy as Bennett Bells. In the pews here that are seated, you have lawyers, you have doctors, you have entrepreneurs, you have scientists, you have teachers, you have musicians, you have all careers that the world allowed them to be a part of. But it started here at Bennett College. It is here at Bennett College 50 years ago that they walked through the gates. And they walked through the gates ready to take on what the world had to offer. But now they are back here today to be able to share their love with you as a 50-year graduate of Bennett College. To our 1965 graduate, as I call your name, please stand and remain standing. Francis Campbell Barty, Jean Bailey Braxton, Eartha Walker Brown, Antoinette Thomas Clark, Bertha O'Tay Craven, Genevieve Gatskin, Joyce Dunn Garrett, Edna Mae Hardy Hill, Barbara Hammond Hawkins, Charlene Porterfield Ingram, Elsie Jacobs Johnson, Charlene Sanders Jones, Dorothy Wilkerson Jones, Lily Madison Jones, Marilyn Mackle, Edna Smith Malone, Wilma Giles Marshall, Philistine Ward Mosley, Yvonne Mason Patterson, Beatrice Stanley Perry Sublé, Gloria Hayes Peterson, Wendy Parker Robinson, Mary Loans Rock, Oza Hawkins Sanders, Sanders Echols Sharp, Del Tricia Curry Smith, Diane Moore Thompson, Patricia Hooper Wiggins, Signora Wilder, Margaret Hill Wadley, Nancy Foote Wilkes, Faye Olivia Williams, Betty Jo Foster Wilson, the class of 1965. You may all be seated. In the words of our alma mater, our 50th class reunion truly understand the meaning of the words within our alma mater. Because even though they may and will never smirk the good gender here in sisterhood, may we ever choose a right guided but by honored right. Ever lovelier shalt thou live as thy daughters freely give. Ever glorious above testimonies of their love. Class of 1965, the Golden Girls.
Each year, the Board of Trustees honors a faculty member with the Teaching Excellence Award. Chairwoman Deborah Foster, we welcome your presentation at this time.
The Board of Trustees Teaching of Excellence Award recognizes exemplary work of a current faculty member with a cash prize of $1,000. This year, the award goes to Dr. Becke Langa. Dr. Langa is the chair of the Department of English and Foreign Language and professor of English. Dr. Langa, would you please join me?
Yes.
So much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for bringing me to Bennett.
Congratulations, Dr. Langa. We've now come to the moment for which we've all been waiting for. The conferring of degrees to the class of 2015. I want to remind each family member that every person would love to hear their loved one's name called. Please be respectful in your salutes to your students to ensure that the next student's name is heard also. Also, only authorized press and college photographers are permitted near the stage to take photographs. Interim Provost Michelle Linster, please join me at the podium.
Madam President, I present the candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Arts and Science in Interdisciplinary Studies, and Bachelor of Social Work. Candidates, please rise. As a consequence of these candidates having completed all of the requirements for their respective majors, I have the honor and pleasure to present each Bennett Bell for the appropriate degrees.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Bennett College Board of Trustees, I confer upon you as appropriate and earned the degrees of Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Arts and Science in Interdisciplinary Studies, and Bachelor of Social Work, and confer these degrees upon you with all the rights and privileges thereto appertaining. You ready to begin? Do we need to tell them to sit?
Thank you. Bachelor of Science, Business Administration, Deanna Armstrong. Akia Bennett. Christian Blackwell. Belinda Cook. Brianna Douglas. LaShayla Eason. Christina Evans. Yvonne Groves. Anae Harley. Tiara Jackson. Natalie Langley. Christina Liu. Tashiana Richardson. Jordan Robinson. Drea Shearer. Teresa Skinner. Robin Smith. Anisha Williams. Bachelor of Social Work, Jasmine Beckwith. Danisha Wiseman. Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education, Dana Johnson. Naisha Lewis. Marcia Moyd. Danye Prichet. Ashley Smith. Tempest Phillips. Dede Edote. Elizabeth Linson. Dominique Walker. Bachelor of Social Work, Jasmine Beckwith. Veronica Bolden. Vanisha Davis. Carissa Dixon. Jillian Dove. Brescia Eldridge. Kiara Knight. Kai Moore. Bria Pope. Maisha Putman. Arnisha Roby. Jelena Seiler. Shanette Warren. Division of Humanities, Bachelor of Arts, English, Chanel Smith. Ivana Solomon. Kwanzaa Taylor. Africana Women's Studies, Narcissa Haskins. Kanisha Peel. Interdisciplinary Studies, traditional option, Kara Elder. Amber Gay. Starla Shea Hurst. Stephanie King. Janice Moody. Aisha Walker. Jean Wembabazi. Got you. Bachelor of Arts, Journalism and Media Studies, Victoria Bolden. Mia Coward. Jacqueline Fields. Gabrielle Ford. Brittany Garner. Ayana Grant Wright. Tierra Lacey. Sabrina Noel Edgar. Quisha Walker. Bachelor of Arts, Music, Amber Harding. Kyle Little. Bachelor of Arts, Theater, Kiera Battle. Raylan Morgan Pegues. Division of Natural and Behavioral Sciences, Mathematics, Bachelor of Science, Biology, Alexis Anderson. Jessica Ivy. Kiera Brown. Cherie Burks. Adero Campbell. Ashley Cooper. Kanisha Davis. Denise Gordon. Olivia Goodrum. Jasmine Kerber. Nashika Lowry. Jamina Norman. Bachelor of Science, Chemistry, Kira Crawford. Bachelor of Science, Computer Science, Ashley Graham. Bachelor of Arts, Psychology, Blair Brooks. Kamisha Hines. Dominique Johnson. Tashara Kelly.
Thank you, Dr. Nestor.
Raven Love. Akila Mitchell. Tynese Simpson. Erica Stone. Jessica Wise. A Bachelor of Science in Chemistry and Psychology, Marie Paulmont. Bachelor of Arts, Theater and Interdisciplinary Studies, Justine Ryan.
At this time, I would like to acknowledge a young woman who has truly distinguished herself and will leave these ceremonies bound to serve our country. Ms. Jordan Robinson, would you please stand? Inspired by her grandfather, a Vietnam veteran, Ms. Robinson not only excelled academically at Bennett, earning the title of salutatorian, she was also a member of the Air Force ROTC Detachment 605 Cadre at North Carolina A&T State University. This afternoon, Jordan will be commissioned as Second Lieutenant in the Air Force. And she will be stationed at Tyndall Air Force Base in Panama City, Florida. Please join me in congratulating Jordan and her family on this outstanding accomplishment. May God bless you in your travels, and thank you for your service to America. Ladies and gentlemen, let us applaud the accomplishments of this entire wonderful class of 2015. Class of 2015, I'd ask you to stand now. The hooding ceremony represents the last bonding act for this class. The baccalaureate hood is an outward symbol of the completion of the bachelor's degree. The lining of the hood is royal blue and white, representing the colors of Bennett College. Graduates, you may hood your sisters. Leinster will return to the podium and recognize our honor students.
It is my pleasure to announce the students graduating with honors. As I announce the names of those students, I ask that they stand. Summa cum laude, 3.8 to 4.0, Christina Liu, Business Administration, with a 3.972. Jordan Robinson, Business Administration, 3.929. Amber Gay, Interdisciplinary Studies, 3.881. Christian Blackwell, Business Administration, 3.822. Magna cum laude, Maisha Putman, Social Work, 3.763. Justine Rhine, Theater and Interdisciplinary Studies, 3.757. Mia Coward, Journalism and Media Studies, 3.75. Erica Stone, Psychology, 3.709. Marcia Maud, Elementary Education, 3.699. Yvonne Groves, Business Administration, 3.654. Raven Love, Psychology, 3.625. Venetia Davis, Social Work, 3.605. Cum laude, Alexis Anderson, Biology, 3.5. Dominique Walker, Political Science, 3.557. Bria Pope, Social Work, 3.547. Christina Evans, Business Administration, 3.545. Naisha Lewis, Elementary Education, 3.511. Anae Harley, Business Administration, 3.491. Kira Crawford, Chemistry, 3.478. Robin Smith, Business Administration, 3.464. Marie Parliament, Chemistry and Psychology, 3.46. Narcissa Haskins, Africana Women's Studies, 3.443. Jasmine Beckwith, Social Work, 3.434. Quisha Walker, Journalism and Media Studies, 3.4. Congratulations, honor graduates. Will you please be seated?
Congratulations to all of you. Thank you, Provost Lister. The presentation of flags has long been a tradition for our college. Today, we are honored to have 4 graduating seniors presenting the flags from their native countries. Will Ms. Marie Palmam from Haiti, Ms. Christina Liu from Hong Kong, Ms. Alexis Anderson from Jamaica, and Ms. Jessica Aivi from Togo, please come forward to present the flags of your respective countries.
I'm a little bit nervous, so hang with me. Good morning, Bennett family. Good morning. Good morning, Parliament and Debilati family. So it is a great privilege and honor to actually present this beautiful representation of Haiti. And Haiti has been a colony of France since 1697, but they won their independence on July 1st, 1804. The Haitian flag is blue and red, and as you can see in the middle, the arm of Haiti represents pretty much what Haiti stands for. So the blue signifies the black population and its African people. The red signifies the different diversity that Haiti has And as you can see, there is an arm that represents the weapon that the people are actually willing to fight for their freedom and for their country. And the motto of Haiti states, "L'union fait la force," which means unity makes strength. Thank you and congratulations, 2015.
You did well. Very nice. You did well.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm super excited. My name is Christina Liu, and I am honored to present the flag of my native land, Hong Kong. Hong Kong is a special administrative region of the People's Republic of China. The flag of Hong Kong comprises a red field in the center, which is a white 5-petal orchid flower. The red flag represents the motherland, and the bihnia represents Hong Kong. The design implies that Hong Kong is an inalienable part of China and prospers in the embrace of the motherland. The 5 stars on the flower symbolize the fact that all Hong Kong compatriots love their motherland, while the red field signifies zest and is used to convey a sense of celebration and nationalism. The color was adopted to establish a link between Hong Kong and China. The red and white colors embody the principle of one country, two systems. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Alexis Anderson and I will be representing the Jamaican flag today. The original motto of the Jamaican flag is "Hardships there are, but the land is green and the sun shineth." The Jamaican national flag consists of a gold saltire, which divides the flag into 4 sections, 2 green, located at the top and bottom, and 2 black, located on both sides. The colors green, black, and gold, all common colors in African cultures, reflects the country's African heritage. The green represents hope in agriculture, black represents the adversity Jamaicans have overcome, and the gold represents mineral wealth and sunlight. The flag of Jamaica was adopted on August 6, 1962, Jamaica's first day of independence from British Federation of the West Indies. Thank you.
Greetings, my name is Jessica Aivi and I am pleased to present the Togolese flag. The flag of my homeland and that of my parental ancestors. The flag of Togo was adopted on April 27, 1960. It has 5 equal horizontal bands of green, top and bottom, alternating with yellow. There is a white 5-pointed star on the red square in the upper hoist side corner. The 3 colors, green, red, and yellow, are the Pan-African colors. The red in the canton symbolizes the blood shed during the internal struggle of independence, which bears the white star of hope. The green bands represents each the forest, agriculture, and hope for the future. The yellow bands both represent the wealth and the natural resources of the land and symbolizes the precious value of national unity and the maturity of Togolese people, envisioning a common destiny. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. The President will now give the charge.
My dear Bennett Bells, so much has already been said today. All I want to add is to just please cherish this day, a day that truly is all about you. Remember that despite your anxiety upon entering the college, the several changes in administration that you have witnessed, and the first failures and disappointments that you may have experienced, that just like Reverend Turman told you last night, that in the end, the good that was started in you outweighed the bad. You've achieved grades and had memorable experiences that have contributed to your maturation and the successes that you enjoy today. Moreover, as our new motto says, you received education for your future and sisterhood for life. Your alma mater, Bennett College, she will always be here for you. You join an esteemed legacy of dynamic women. Honoring this legacy will serve as an inspiration to you in all that you do. Dear old Bennett will always be true to you, so remember to support her when asked. And take some time today to pull a loved one aside, give them a sincere hug, and thank them for pulling you through as well. And now, take the love of all of us that you leave behind and soar to the greater heights that await you, because Bennett Bells do it well. Would everyone please stand? And now I would ask all alumni to join me in reciting the traditional Bennett blessing, beloved, from John chapter 3, verses 2 and through 3. Please remain standing for the singing of the alma mater. Following the alma mater, continue standing in place for the benediction and the recessional. Beloved, now are we the sons of God, and it does not yet appear what we shall be, but we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. And every man that hath this hope in him purifieth himself even as he is pure. The Lord has been mindful of us. He will bless us. Please remain standing for the alma mater.
Please join hands where you are. Dear God, truly your favor has rested upon us this day, and we are eternally grateful. We send your daughters forward with your blessing. My Bennett sisters, according to the scriptures selected for baccalaureate and commencement, remember these things. There is a time and purpose for everything under God's heaven. God has made all things beautiful for this time. Now, sisters, it's time for you to get out of this boat and to walk towards Jesus and the future he has in store for you. You have your charge, which is inscribed on our college bell. Now go and proclaim liberty to the captive and the day of the Lord's favor. It is time for you to set forth from this shore and to launch out into the deep and cast your nets. The harvest awaits you is more than you can imagine. Now may the Lord answer you in the day of trouble, and may the name of the God of Jacob defend you. May God send you help from his sanctuary and strength out of Zion. May God remember all of your offerings and accept your sacrifices. May God grant you the desires of your heart according to his purpose. I love you in Jesus' name. Amen.